Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Ayahuasca, where we explore plant medicine in depth with Michael Guron, who's had over a decade more years' experience as a ceremonialist working with the master plants. And today we are exploring Dieta. What is Dieta? Good morning, Michael.
Hey guys, how you going?
You know, I think in the West, diet is like a loaded word, and then the connotations around diet, but dieta is a very important part of what you take in and how you approach medicine and how you imbibe medicine is such a profound part of plant medicine, right?
Yeah,
And there's the dieta that we have before we've spoken about in preparation for a ceremony where you eliminate things that are going to inhibit or get in the way of medicine working well with you. And there's dieta where you're taking in a plant so that you can receive its teachings. And that's what we're talking about today.
yeah. So that's a very amazing and beautiful subject, and actually one of the more powerful processes that we can work through when we started to do the work with the plants. And just to distinguish, I think it's important just to start and we just explore why we're doing the diet, pre-ceremonial diet, and why we're doing that, which is semi-correlated to the process of dieting. And so in the classic ayahuasca diet, we want to remove a lot of the foods that we eat normally each and every day. And we're removing, the fermented foods. We're removing the dairy, wheat products, breads, pastas, red meat, pork. It's okay to have some chicken and eggs and fish, and no salts. Salt is okay a little bit, but it's good to reduce the salt and the spices. And by doing that dieta, we are preparing our body. We're starting to have a process of detoxification. And we're removing a lot of those things that are saturating our body. If we're thinking about it, spices, for example, are an extractions of different plants. So you have the turmeric, which is a very, very powerful master plant, that's inhibiting, that's working inside your body. You have the pepper, the paprika, the chilies, the hot spices. There are plants that getting into your body and having an effect. So they will, for example, peppers, they will enhance your fire. The turmeric will, do the inflammation thing, and so forth. Where it's bay leaf, coriander, lavender, whatever teas do have in, and stuff like that. So each plant, we know that they have their capacity to help us be healthier and better, and whether it's to calm the body, to calm the nervous system, to heat the body, and so forth. And by removing those plants and different types of foods that we have, and we are first and for all, we clearing a space within our body, so the body become much more receptive for different things, because we are not saturated with different plants, right? So because the body is saturated itself with all the foods and the things, and we're eating less, and we have more space internally to process more things as we are traveling and journeying with Aya. So, for example, as I mentioned probably in the past episode, the medicine wants to clear out. We want to clear the body. We want to purify. And that's one of the biggest processes that we're doing. By purifying the body, we are able to process and internalize those somatic expression of ourselves that we hold in psychosomatic issues and physical, by removing those things, we're able to progress, we're able to release, we're able to heal ourselves, and so forth. And so that's why we're doing that.
Yeah, I just want to say that our first episode goes into all that detail. So if people want to get the full diet and all of that more extended explanation of the diet and how to prepare and the full list of what to avoid beyond, including other behaviors as well as different foods, that's our first episode. So I just wanted to lead people to that, to where you speak in depth about the preparation process.
Yeah, which is extremely powerful, and have a lot of the things that are actually correlated to the process that we're doing in dieting. So when we say in dieting, what is dieting? Dieting a plant.
Mm.
So dieting is a process that is originating in the Amazon jungle, in many tribes and communities up there. And that process is very, 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 very powerful process that is requiring us to devote ourselves over a long period of time to work specifically with any type of plants. It's, from my perspective, it's probably the most advanced type of herbalism existed on the planet. It is a complete union between a plant and human. It's given us the ability to deeply intertwine and commune with a plant on a physical level and a spiritual level. And this process, I will describe the process. What does it look like, generally speaking? There's many ways to do it as well, but we're going to go on the general wavelength of what does it look in general. And so we're looking at the process of dieting from a traditional perspective, as I said, in a general form of when we taking the general outline of what most tribes and communities are doing. We take in at least 10 days, sometimes seven days, 10 days. It can be 20 days. It's depend on the issue that we're working with, on the purpose of what we are wish to work with. And we're exploring what is the issues that we need to work with. So, for example, if a woman wants to give birth and she can't give birth or can't get into, get pregnant, or there is a cancer or really serious physical issue that we may suffer in. Traditionally, the shaman, the healer, they call them the vagilista, the herbalist, will prescribe a specific plant that most likely will be the most suitable for that person. And the process goes that we're removing all the foods similar to what we described earlier, like we did the diet with ayahuasca. We're removing all the salts, fermented food. It's mostly veggies, rice, lentils is all right. A couple of herbal teas are all right. And eggs, not too necessarily, but mostly chicken, they do it, chicken and fish. The potatoes, really dull, no salts, no oils, no dairy, and a lot of water. And basically, we can start a diet really oftentimes. We start it
And
with...
also those behavioral things as well, right? Not having sexual behaviors or any stimulants. So there's also behaviors that are involved and other things that are involved in what you're not doing to kind of like, I guess, get in the way of receiving the pure.
Yeah. I haven't mentioned any type of sexual activities. The coffees, any type of stimulations, and things that may disturb your energetic field, basically.
Can I go back a little bit? Because I'm thinking about, so there's different reasons why you would embark on a dieta. One is if the shaman's like, you've got this health issue or this issue, and it's like a prescription where the shaman's saying, it's not about drinking ayahuasca, it's you need to diet this plant. But there are other reasons why you would do Dieta as well. I think it's part of like big part of like learning or like to when you're in a apprenticing to become maestro or curandero.
Yeah,
So there's different reasons why you'd even embark upon a Dieta.
that's right. Traditionally, you wouldn't become a healer with ayahuasca if you wouldn't diet. It's coming hand in hand. So, in order to, ayahuasca basically it was coming together with vagilistima. So, with herbalism, with dieting. So it's the same, it's working together hand in hand. Us in the West, we kind of like looking just at ayahuasca separately, but really
Mm-hmm.
it was always coming together. You dieting and working with ayahuasca at the same time. It's not
Mm.
two separate things. First of all, it was dieting. That was the process.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one night ceremony. It wasn't like that often. It was just dieting. That's what we do with ayahuasca. We're doing the diet and we're doing ayahuasca while we're dieting,
Mm.
basically. So if a person wanted to become, uh, it's not becoming an ayahuasca shaman, it's becoming a shaman that works with the plant. And that's how it used to be really in the past. Obviously, there's different tradition in different places. In Colombia, it will be more ayahuasca, and separately, I'm talking about Peruvian um, herbalism more so.
Yeah.
So it's still in different cultures, but I'm more related to the Peruvian, what I know a bit better. Um, so the process, basically, the most interesting part about this process is our, because we're removing all these things that we do every day, whether it's the sexual activities, the foods, the looking at the phones, the talking, whatever you do every day, the alcohol consumption, the coffees, whatever. We showing the spirit of the plant that we are willing to be in apprentices. We are willing to be students to this master plant. We are showing that we will sacrifice our comfort in order to receive something that we need in our body because we have lack somewhere. And it's a type of a spiritual contract. So we create in a spiritual contract. We agreeing that from that period of time, from the moment I'm starting or a couple days before, I'm already starting to have a pre-preparation up until sometimes 10, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes a month. It's depend on the mystery school or on the lineage. There is a contract. So from that period of time until that period of time, I'm gonna avoid all these things. In between, I'm gonna have my diet, and uh, that helps the spirit of the plant to intertwine properly within our physical system. So what is happening? We're going through that process, and we are becoming the plant becoming part of us because we are so sensitive, because we are so available to receive. What is happening in the process, throughout the process, we will receive teachings and messages from the plant throughout the whole day. So we can drink the tea in the morning.
Yeah, so that's how you're taking in the plant is through a tea. So if you're diet, so you can diet any plant, right? So you
Yeah,
can do a dieta on any plant to receive its teachings, is my understanding.
that's right. So you can use different types of each plant. You can use either the leaves, the bark, the roots, flowers.
Hmm.
So you can use different parts of each plant, and there is few ways to each one of them require different preparation. Usually, it's an infusion or overnight in water. Sometimes in hot
Hmm.
water, sometimes you boil it, sometimes it's water in the sun. So different preparation for a different plant, and then you drink the tea. It's a type of a tea basically, and you drink the tea early in the morning. Sometimes you can drink it throughout the whole day. It's depend on the plant. It's depend on the intensity. Some plants are really really strong. one cup is more than enough, and it will take you throughout the process, throughout the whole day and into the dreaming. One of the most amazing things that you can really, when the plants take over you, you can really drift off in your usual like day conscious without medicine, and you really drift off, and your psyche, your consciousness, the plants are coming in waves and starting to show you different teachings about yourself. um, Memories can come up, you can get visions, you can get um, amazing dreams, you can drift off into, just drop into really deep spaces. And the dreamscape is where they communicate within us. They have this ability to shift the psyche in a very deep way, not too subtle. Sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes it's not subtle at all. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
This is the process. So we're doing that over a period of, at least a week to 10 days to 20 days, depend on your plant, depend on your intention. And obviously you bring your intention as well, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's the thing that leads us throughout the process and help us to coming back to that point, so we can get distracted and, all right, what I'm here, I'm coming to because this is my intention. And then you could see those teachings coming to manifest while you are doing the diet. And
Is that like how those teachings are coming? Is it easy to receive those messages, or is it really like Dieta is something that you've had some experience with say working with ayahuasca, so you more kind of can recognize when you're getting messages, or is it really clear? Is it really just obvious when you're getting teachings?
well, obviously it's depend on the person and who you are and
Yeah.
your capacity to understand subtle and not too subtle messages from your psyche, because it's the language of symbolism. So we're working
Mm.
with symbol. The dreaming is all about symbolism. So it's understanding how the dream works, and sometimes it's very easy to understand. If you're doing this work, obviously you should have some capacity to understand the symbolism of what comes to you.
And I think also like intention, like if you have an intention, it makes you available to notice things. It's like saying, it's like when you go, oh, I'm buying a red mini or something, and then you see the red minis on the road everywhere. It's sort of like I'm imagining, I have never done the dieta, but, that your intention is what makes you receptive. So if you to the manifestation of the message, because that's what's bringing your conscious awareness to the issue.
I think the intention mostly give you the direction of what you should look for, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but it's oftentimes the plants got their own ways. They'll
Mm-hmm.
play out with you in different ways that can be quite surprising, and not necessarily in a straightforward way. Um, because it's spirits that work in mysterious ways that um, we're trying to comprehend, but it's not exactly like that.
Yeah.
Um, and so we're drinking the herbs every day, but before we start in that, we have an opening ceremony. So we start in with an opening ceremony, and that will open the process. Early, sometimes they do it the day after, sometimes they do it the day before. Nonetheless, there is an opening ceremony. Then we wake up in the morning and having the first drink. Oftentimes, that would be um, a fasting time. So you even to show that you're gonna show the plant that you, if you want to, that you can be even more devoted, and you fast even longer. So you're having like a 24-hour fast. If you can do it longer, you can go even longer, and then you are becoming even more receptive, and the body is getting more cleansed and more purified, and uh, that's how you start. Um, and then we have a day or two break, and then we're having another session with ayahuasca, and then the plant gonna start and integrate every time we're having a ceremony. The plant is integrating and clearing and purifying you together with Aya. in communion and starting to work on those issues that we are and the intentions that we are presenting. Then we're having another day or two break. Sometimes it's just one day, sometimes it's two. Then we're having another session. And that's going on and on for the duration of the process, however long that may be. And then we have a closing ceremony. And basically, this is a process of, that's the important part, is that we are consistently churning through the things that we don't need. So the medicine purifying and clearing and excavating all the things that you don't need and pulling it out of you. All those things that holding you back to be who you're meant to be. And regardless of your intention and whatever you wish to do, that's the process. You need to purify yourself in order to be who you're meant to be, right? And that process is absolutely stunning. It's magnificent, and it's 100 times fold stronger than having just 1 or 2 night ceremonies, because it's consistent process that really able to change your whole constitution. It's able to change who you are completely. This is the process of complete death and rebirth. It's a complete process of renewal. Most of the process, we are in a process of dying. We are in a process of removing, in process of letting go. And only at the end, we have the resurrection and the coming back up to the light and coming back to who we're meant to be. And this is the general process.
So can I just make sure I've got that straight? So if you're embarking on Dieta, you would do a week or two of the normal pre-ceremony diet of reducing all those things. And then you may start with drinking the tea, and then starting with the ceremony, drinking the tea for a couple of days, so starting with the ayahuasca ceremony, and then drinking your Dieta tea for a day or two, and then another ayahuasca ceremony, and this could go on for a week or 2 weeks or a month. Is that right?
Yeah, or even longer.
Wow,
Yeah,
that sounds intense. No
yeah,
wonder
yeah.
you die.
Yeah. So the period, I mean, the master healers, they used to go months and months and months, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year. They go in, they have their plant, they work in one plant for a year consistently.
We're not mucking around here, are we? Like, this is not this is not a little flight of fancy here. This is a deep commitment.
I mean, it's not necessarily that they will drink every day over a year, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a bit taxing and can be very intense because you need to sleep and all that. But the process of dieting and devoting yourself to a specific plant over a very long period of time, really changing you inherently from the inside completely. You becoming a completely different, upgraded humans after that. And that's given those master healers, those shamans, those powers. That's how they become like that, because they are devoted themselves completely. There's no distractions, there's no family, there's no kids, there's no mobile phones, obviously, back in the day, and alcohol or whatever may distract them, or sexual activities. That was a big one.
Mm. Such a devotion.
Yeah, it's a full devotional aspect to the plants and to their path and who they are meant to be, in order for them, to really rise beyond the state of normal, human life kind of thing.
But it's rise and fall, as in it's just is such a humble path, isn't it? Of that, like, I'm stripping everything. It's such a humbling process when you say, I'm going to let everything be stripped away from me so that I can rise, that death and rebirth. I'm just hearing the humility and feeling the humility in I'm willing to sacrifice the things that give me comfort or who I think I am, and to
Yeah,
hand myself over to spirit, to the plant, to yeah,
yeah, to spirit, to creation, to Mother Earth, to everything around me, and creating that complete bonding with my environment, with who I'm meant to be underneath the whole all of the masks, and you know, if you have that purpose of being a healer and working in that capacity with the plant, that's something that you have to do.
yeah. It's not a whim, obviously. It's certainly not a whim.
But you know, it's you know, you're saying all these things, but it's becoming eventually it's becoming like a normal state of life. It's a way of being. It's for me, it
Yeah,
feels very normal. It doesn't feel that different. This is the path of your life. It's almost like being a monk of some sort that devoted yourself to
yeah,
this path, and this is your path, and it's becoming your state of normal. That's what you know you do. You devoted yourself to spirit. You devoted yourself to the deepening of the heart, to devoting to all that is, to where you're coming from. The more you are realizing that we are that fractal of creation itself, expanding itself each and every moment, and each and every moment you are becoming a different person. You know, that aspect of becoming consistently. You're always becoming. There's no stop of
yeah,
becoming. We are always becoming more who we meant to be.
yeah. But I like if it's your calling. I'm just hearing that this isn't something that you do because maybe someone might drink ayahuasca because it sounds interesting and like fascinating and be a tourist. Like you can't. This is a calling. You know,
Yeah.
it's not a whim. It's not a flight of fancy. It's not like, oh, that sounds fun, I'll do that, because of like the level of devotion and commitment and ordeal and you know the path. It is a path.
Look, if your life is at stake, for example, and you're really sick
Yeah,
and you have nothing to hold on to, I mean, I would do that. You know, if you're sick and you want to be healthier, I mean, it's devotion to your own life. It's devotion to creation, really. I mean, the fact that it's demand you to do something about it. I mean, that's what it's meant to be from the original essence of creation. Really, we need to do something to be in order to overcome. You can't just like go to the doctor and get the capsule and expect it to disappear. That's like the virus that we're suffering on the moment on the planet, that we think the quick fix is the only thing, the things that will resolve all
yeah,
our issues, and everything's coming up, and that's it. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and sort it out in a couple sessions, even just ayahuasca night. No, no,
yeah.
it's not gonna work in one night. No, you actually have to do something each and every day, each and every moment.
But that's learning. Like we in the West, we have to learn how to take responsibility for ourselves. That's a whole new. We've forgotten that. So that responsibility of you've got to do what you've got to do and take responsibility and take the steps and do the work. And that's such a teaching of these plant medicines. But we've been conditioned in the West to avoid, to blame, to have a way
Yeah,
out. A lot of medicine, Western medicine, is geared that way. Let's numb that pain. Let's annihilate. Let's cut it out. Let's get rid of it.
that's right.
So it is a big turn for us Westerners to, to understand and learn how to do that versus people who've been working and living that way more uninterruptedly.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, everything is coming to us on a platter plate. You need some food, and you go into the supermarket, you get it. You don't need to go and hunt it. You open the tap, you have the water there. Everything is, I mean, life is not easy on the moment at the moment, but it's pretty easy. I mean, everything you need is there, really. Kind of. A lot of the things you don't have to work. Your life is not at stake to get that food, to get those
Yeah,
basic things. Your life is not at
yeah,
stake. You'll get food regardless. You'll be able to overcome that. You don't have to go to the jungle to get that monkey and to run into the savannah, whatever, to get the bloody baboon because your kids are not going to have food. You don't have that. You don't have that. And it's no, it's uncomfortable to go and launch yourself all the way to find that little bush with the specific berries that will be that's the only bush that have foods at the moment. We don't have
Yeah.
that. We just go into the supermarket, we get it. We have everything we need, everything. Not even just seasonal things. We have all the seasons. It used to be just one seasons. Now we have all the seasons in one supermarket all the time. You know?
Yeah.
So now we're like, okay, so that point of view really destroyed our capacity to go through seasons, go through the aspect of internalizing when we need to internalize, and it's become everything available all the time. And that created the quick fix, also the quick fix culture, and the inability to go through discomfort, tiny bit of discomfort, because no, I don't have, like a spoiled society that we're afraid
Yeah.
to be in a state of discomfort, tiny bit of discomfort, and I'm going to take the paracetamol.
And it's also a loss of like just the innate building of reward for effort. Like I get the reward from the effort, and we want the reward without we don't understand, then we lose that kind of biofeedback loop of reward for effort.
Yeah,
That the effort is rewarding is rewarding in itself. But the irony is in the hierarchy of needs, we have all those primal needs met, but our emotional needs or our psychic or our spiritual needs are in crisis. So it's all kind of flipped around.
that's it. You have to peel off the old skin eventually. If you don't peel it off, and when you peel it off, it's bloody painful. You have to go through that. This is the way. There's no other way. I didn't come up with that stuff. This is the way. You have to go
Yeah.
through a state of discomfort in order for you to grow. That's why we have stress in life. We're pushing our life into a state of disharmony all the way, and eventually you have to break through. That's why we have the hero's journey, right? Have to go through the bottom of the pit to experience the stress, the stagnation, the pain, the suffering deep in the underworld. And then slowly we're going to start to look up, and we're going to see like a tiny bit of light at the end of the tunnel that will remind us, oh, there is a hope. And I can start and climb up eventually and rebuild my life if I haven't done it before. And the plants are really great to facilitate that process. They're really great in facilitating that specific process and helping us going through that with grace, with not only grace, but a much deeper process of realigning ourselves to the plants, fixing up our bodies, detoxing our bodies, showing us all those deep psyche realignments, and like the different jigsaw puzzle that are clicking together again and rebuilding who we're meant to be.
And I think as a path, if you're then you're, if you're off your path or you're kind of trying to stay comfortable, the crisis has to get really loud. We're only going to make a change when the discomfort becomes so unbearable. Then we go, okay, I'm going to have to do something. And that's, one way of living with people are trying to avoid pain. And then the consequences get so big and so loud and you get so sick. It's either like, that can often be a turning point. But when you're on a path of spiritual connection or healing, then you kind of you're more proactive of like, let me continue to dig out my pain and be in relationship with that process continually rather than having it come and like whack me all the time.
That's right. It's becoming just a normal, natural process because that's the way it is. We are going through a spiral of evolution. We are growing, we are expanding, and then we have a process of dying off again. And then, it's all written in astrology as well, isn't it? So,
If people are on the path of that's how an important part of their life and their continual healing process. There's people who are healing in a reaction way. I'm having a bad time. I'll get help, get over that hard time or that issue, and then go back to my life. And then there's other people who are seekers and who want to continually deepen that journey. And I think plant medicine, to have that as a part of your life, I mean, it's so helpful and so wonderful, and such a next level of engaging in that process. And I feel so lucky to be able to have access to that here in Melbourne.
It's absolute privilege. It's absolute privilege that we should never take for granted, huh? It's
Mm.
one of the biggest blessings that we can receive, to get to those really deep moments of union with spirit and creation and all that is. It's fantastic.
So I think you were mentioning there's two different ways. There's like Dieta that you're kind of talking about, which is like I'm imagining being in a location or like a healing environment where you're there for a period of time doing Dieta and ceremony. But there's remote Dieta as well.
And then yes, and then we can do what we call the suave, light, remote dieta process, which is the more supposedly
Suave.
suave, light, gentle, um,
Mm-hmm.
remote. When we do it in the comfort of our home, um, supposedly more comfortable, and that process is pretty much the same, but without having the ceremonial work in between. So we don't do the ayahuasca ceremonies in between. So
So how does
we
that
can
work?
eat. So basically, the diet could be slightly more forgiving. So you can have maybe tiny bit more things like a bit of avocado, or maybe tiny bit more of peanut butter or something like that. Still no oils or anything like that. Um, all the same restrictions, the same contract that you're creating with the plant. Um, but then you have to have your own discipline to hold
Mm.
that process by yourself with no accountability or anything like that. So that actually can be quite more harder in a way. You just need to find your discipline. If you're not too disciplined and you find temptations, that can be pretty hard to do. Um, and
Yeah.
even just the mobile phones and not looking at it too much, and um, you can
Yes.
still do what you need to do. You can do the work. It's a bit more gentle. It's depend on the plant, obviously. It's depend the period of time that you have, and you're going through that process. You can do it over. It's minimum 2 weeks. It's a bit longer, to 4 weeks. But you have more leeway. You're a bit more free to do more things. You can.
Mm.
It's depend on the plant of what you're having. You can have it mostly in the afternoon or different times of the day if it doesn't suit you or it's debilitating you in terms of your physical well-being and you can't do too many things. So you can be a bit more flexible when you have it, as long as you have it every day and there is a moment of connection with the plant when you drink it. There is a short meditation or a process that you are connecting deeper with the plant.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. I want the container. If I'm to do it, I want it. I want the container. But you support people to do remote dieta, so there is a somewhat of a container. I guess people could do it on their own, like if they have that. You'd have to have some experience, I imagine, but you can support.
Yeah, ideally you need someone to open that process for you. So you need
Mm,
that intermediary with a person that will open it up and close it, and a person that that is overwatching you. And it's not it's not something that every person can do straight away, obviously. Um, and
Yeah.
it's good to be fairly aligned with who you are and what you're doing, and just make sure that energetically it's all sound. And yeah, so you have the person that opens up for you. You have a container. You have an energetic portal that being opened for you. I'm offering something like that as well. So that's a very awesome process that we can last between 2 to 4 weeks. Um, One of the things that is actually interesting to note is that here in Australia, we are working with these amazing plants. We have this bunch of master plants here.
Mm-hmm.
To name a few, is the different types of the wattles, the acacias, that are equivalent supposedly to the chacruna or the chaliponga in the Amazon, and they are the one that supposedly just bring the vision. Um, the acacias, though, they have a very strong spirit. They have a very powerful capacity to help us to heal different layers of ourselves as well. And the very potent master plants under their category of wattles. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so at the moment, I'm working with a wattle called Acacia cortii, which is a very powerful master plant that is quite unique to most of the wattles, even in Australia. Um, Most of the wattles hold, I found, more of the feminine energy, the mostly feminine, while Acacia cortii, it's a bit hard to put feminine masculine to plants, but they have more the tendency to go to more of the feminine direction. Most of them are more towards the feminine directions, but they hold the frequencies of the land of Australia, which is really different, for example, from the frequencies of the Amazon jungle, which is, I find it like really the vista. There's the vista point of view is like you can see far away. You have a long term vision. Um, it's very clear. It's not confusing. There is not too many testing. The chacruna plant could test you often, and the aspect
Mm-hmm.
of being cheeky, ayahuasca chacruna, what we call together, she becoming more cheeky and more trickery. Could test you a lot and test your ego in different way. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Are you think you're going to do that? All these different type of testing.
Mm-hmm.
While the wattles won't do that at all, and they're much more
Mm-hmm.
direct. Um, so there's different spiritual qualities that they hold.
Yeah. So you're dieting the Acacia cortii
Corti.
at the moment.
Yeah,
What's it feeling like?
it's a very different plant. It's masculine plant. It has more masculine nature. Um, it could be a bit more prickly, more fiery in a way, um, and it has a very strong capacity to change deep-rooted issues in the brain, I find. And when you diet it, it feels like the heart open. There is like a vibration around the heart consistently happening around the heart. And you have to breathe deeply, like in most diets. And it's really taking you feel very deep rooted into the earth. And there is like this really deep, quieting presence in your body. So the mind is less active. You're more settled in your heart. And it's more like a little bit more quiet. I would call it quiet. There's a vibration of quietness that is underneath everything. Quite wild dreams, very wild dreams, taking you through all these different realms and dimensions of existence. And yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
very amazing process. I'm just happy to do it right now because that's what I do.
So you're in the middle of a cortii dieta.
Yeah,
How long are you dieting that for? How long are you going to go for?
I'll see how long I'll be able to do it, but it will be the minimum 2 weeks. If I'll be able to stretch it a bit longer, I'll do it. It's depend on life situation, kids, family, actual functioning in the world. The more you drink the tea, the more stronger it gets. So it's finding that balance with being able to
Mm.
function in the world versus being fully immersed in it.
And after you finished the tea of the whatever you're dieting, you keep the ceremonial dieta going as well. Like you so that it integrates. I understand. So you keep minimizing those other, keeping on it really clean, so you don't interfere with the continual kind of like integration of whatever you're learning. Is that
You
right?
can. There is that process, what we call after we are closing the dieta. We have that process of what we call to break the diet. So um, when we break in a diet, we we mix in salt, lemon, chili, garlic, onion. You mix all of it together, and that's really pungent. Some chili, just like something hot and pungent flavor that
Yeah.
really striking you really strongly really strongly in your mouth, and that's how you break the diet. So you're having that, and those first
Mm.
bites, that's the process when you break that, the process, and um that's it. The process is finished. Like you close it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a closing and opening. You do that as well in the jungle, right? That's how you close dietas. um, and after that you can start and eat more normally. It's depend how long you do it for. If it's like very long time, you want to start more slowly. um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you have like a minimum 10 days until you can, it's depend on the lineage and everything, but it's about 10 days with beef, pork, um, definitely alcohol, ganja, all these things. I would avoid them altogether, but
Yeah.
yeah, so it's at least 10 days afterwards. Avoiding the dairy products, I found, is not that great. So just slowly integrating, because your body is so um, subtly sensitive to everything. You want to bring things very slowly. You feel everything around you very, very subtly. So harsh environments are really bad. Coffees are really, really hard. Like it's like really striking your system really strongly. So really just bring up things very gently, like just a little bit every time, and not shocking the system. I think it's a beautiful process just to feel in your body and feel in the subtleness of everything, and just introduce things slowly into your body. It's really a nice process. I really love that, and you really feel and test everything in a deeper way.
Mm.
And that's another interesting part of the diet, the sense of appreciation for food, eating slowly, chewing properly, really dropping into the present moment when we eat, and we're not just gobbling through because we need to go somewhere, and just another thing. So we're really appreciating food and
Yeah.
dropping into that aspect as well, and bringing that mindfulness to each and every moment. Really, it's a lot about mindfulness is a big thing.
Well, I mean, that's something. I just want to recap that it's something that you offer, and sometimes you might do like a residential kind of dieta process somewhere in nature.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that would be
At the
incredible.
moment, I mean, it's depend when you're gonna watch this, but you can always check the website. Basically, it will be on offer a couple times a year. It's not all the time, and it's a process that is amazing and
Mhm.
beautiful, and can really help you um, to overcome addictions, different types of strong mental issues, childhood wounding, and more.
Great. Well, there'll be links below for people to check that out and check out your offerings. Um, yes, there's things that we want to continue talking about in future episodes of like the interweaving of the Indigenous Australian medicines with ayahuasca and those other medicines and the hybrids and that crossing over that's happening. We'll
Mm.
talk about in future episodes, and that might come into the next episode where we're talking about what ayahuasca wants us to know, what she's talking to us about at the moment, and kind of like what you've said is that she's kind of directing this, and there's a lot of things that I don't know. I'm getting the language all mixed up, but the messages directly from spirit and directly from ayahuasca, and that are coming to you and through you. So we'll be talking about that next time, which is pretty exciting. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please support us, like, subscribe, share, give us your feedback, your comments. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated your listening ears. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you soon.